Thank you again for joining us this afternoon. So first, I'd like to kick things off with our sponsor, Brett Jacob with Nortech Control. Please take it away.
All right, very good. Hello, everyone. Hope you can hear me, and I apologize if many of you guys who just came out of my last boardroom session are going to hear the same pitch, but at least this one will be a little condensed. Yeah, my name is Brett Jacob. I'm the Director of Builder Services for Nortech Control, and you might see here that we just, the top line is there, it's about 2 months ago, I guess exactly today, we were acquired by an Italian company by the name of NICE. Strategic partnership, strategic acquisition, because most of our business is here in North America. NICE's business mostly was overseas with a very small footprint here in the United States and North America. So we were able to combine portfolios, and we're going through an integration process right now, but we're super excited about it, and think about the marketing opportunities with the brand NICE as part of your brand, right? But the Nortech brand, we've been around for a long time. A lot of people don't know the name Nortech because Nortech is not a household name. We certainly don't go to market with any products with a Nortech brand on them. We have a collection of brands, about 12 brands, that have different areas and different segments in everything from video surveillance, video analytics, health and wellness, audio and video distribution, power control, access control, things like that, right? We have been around a long time. Our oldest brand is over 60 years old. Not many companies can say that they have over 45 million systems in the field, not devices, systems installed. And we continue to bring innovative products to market. Last year we brought over 30 new products to market, and we continue to win a lot of awards and recognition for those as well. 3 keystone brands. Of all the 12 brands, there are 3 of them that are really critical that we work with builders, and we've actually developed builder programs around these 3 brands. Linear, which is the oldest of the brand, 60 years old this year, makes smart garage door openers, great garage door operators. One thing about it is it's very compatible. We make sure that all of our smart garage door operators work with all the control platforms out there. So whether you're putting a Control4 system or a URC system or anybody else's system in there, we know that our system that our garage door openers are compatible. Also, linear access control is we have a multifamily division and a multifamily program. If you guys are doing MDUs, and of course linear access control and telephone entry systems have been around for a long time as well. Elan is our 32-year-old control platform. I've kind of been along for most of that ride. I think I've been affiliated with the Elan brand for 27 of those 32 years. Hard to believe. But it is a robust, amazingly powerful control platform, mostly geared toward the custom builder segment. That's what we have a program designed for custom builders, but we also do have a lot of production builders who deploy Elan in their homes as well. And then Edge. This is the 2GIG brand, and we have been around for quite a while. 2GIG was the first manufacturer to take a control panel and a keypad and put it together with wireless devices. So it's completely wireless, other than the power that you need to low voltage power. It is cellular based, so as a smart home hub and as a security panel, it works cellularly. So very little that you have to do in the way of maintenance, and it always works. We have a builder program with Alarm.com, who I believe is here at the show, and the 2GIG New Home program powered by Alarm.com. Our 2 companies work together to come up with an awesome builder program, right? Our program, less about product, more about the programs. In my time here, we've been able to develop 4 branded builder programs for the different verticals that we serve with our products. And these are the things that we do for our builders. When you are on our program, we're not just here to sell you product. We're here to help you be successful in offering a connected home or a connected smart building to your buyers. So everything from a model home program where we're extremely generous on what we provide, to sales and marketing support, giving you all the tools, the digital marketing, the paper assets, everything that you need to be able to market that you are a builder who is different than the competition and certainly different than a used home. In sales and training, we work with every single builder to make sure that every everybody who is customer facing is capable of telling that really simple technology story. We have product design and support, we have engineering support, so these are a lot of things that we do. A really cool thing that we do is community management. This is an element of the Alarm.com program where they provide a single dashboard for all of your inventory homes and on your model homes. I know there's not a lot of inventory homes right now, but at some point there probably will be, where you have one login to manage all of those. Not only alerts from the system coming back, maybe like water leak detection or intrusion, but also giving you the ability to change door lock codes for different subcontractors or real estate agents that may be coming by. And then also the self-guided tour element, which is an extension of the community management. We work with Enter Now and UTour. So if you are a builder who is in contract with UTour or Enter Now, then they'll work with your web developer to put an element on the website that you can schedule a self-guided tour of their home, and of your home, sorry, and you can schedule that. Let's say it's 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. People want to schedule a 90-minute walkthrough. They do that on their website. They'll get a text message on their phone. Then they show up at that time at the home, unlock the door with that code, and then the house comes to life, right? The system disarms itself, the lights come on, the music starts, and then the people have a comfortable experience of touring the model home. We have a lot of things going on in the design center world. Showing an image here of CBI Interiors, Tiffany and team over here. That's their beautiful, beautiful design center, and now we are able to offer the technology, have that technology discussion in the rightful place where it should be, right? The organic home buying process is really all about, and the home selection process is really in the design center. That's where people are picking out their options. So we've helped builders, hundreds and hundreds of builders, be able to take technology, take more ownership of it, and present these options in the design center. And I think that's it for me. How do we do? Okay? On time? Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Brad, and thank you to Nortech Control for sponsoring today's session. So in today's session, we're going to talk about how do we know what to show in our model homes so that it appeals to our customers? But most importantly, we're going to talk about different ways that you can actually tap into lifetime value of your customer and maximize that relationship and offer additional services to them beyond building a home. I think you guys are in for a real treat today. So let me introduce you to my panelists. Joining us today virtually is Jennifer Cooper. Jennifer is a fractional CMO with Evolution Marketing. Judson Diehl is General Manager of Real Estate with Modsy. And Sara Kilburn is the CEO of the Mark Group. So thank you so much for joining me today. And if you guys can give us a brief introduction of who you are, why is it that you're qualified to talk about it today, and maybe throw in a fun fact about yourself. So Sara, why don't we start with you first?
Sure, this is working. Hi everyone, I'm Sara Kilburn. I have been in the home building industry for about 21 years on the interior design side, and not sure how many model homes I've done at this point, but have also focused in multifamily and affordable housing and pretty much the whole gamut. My background was hospitality before that, and now I've started my own company, and I'm working on the home builder side, doing sales and marketing, and working with an interior design firm and also with an architect. So I've got a full plate now.
Awesome. Jennifer, do you want to take it away?
Yeah. Hello, everybody, virtually. Jennifer Cooper. I am, as you mentioned, a fractional CMO. My company is Evolution Marketing. I have about 23 years of advertising and marketing experience. I've spent most of it in the home building and multifamily arena. Some of you may have known me in executive roles with Richmond American Homes, Oakwood Homes, and most recently with Truland Homes and a portfolio of real estate companies along the Gulf Coast. And so today I'm here. I'm actually a fractional CMO for Builders Design, and I recently helped them launch the House Inspired Homes program. So connecting my love and passion for the customer journey and knowing what builders go through and transcending that to customer experience with interior design. So I really look forward to the discussion today.
Awesome. And last but not least, Judson?
Yeah, thank you. My journey started with my father as a custom home builder, spent my early years doing that, then moved into building science and renewable energy. Worked for Tesla for quite some time with their new construction side, and then pivoted my career towards merchandising and furniture with the idea of connecting to the home buyers and the styles that connect to them. So made the switch to join Modsy earlier this year.
All right, great. So let's kick things off. And Sara, why don't you take us through your thought process when you're starting to think about, okay, I have a builder and I'm working with, they want to create model, whether it's physical model or digital model. How do we think through who is that buyer profile? How do we know what do we include in that model home?
Yeah, sure. Really from the builder's perspective, I think a lot of times you'll use reports like from Zonda to understand your buyer profile. And the interior designers also have to do their own research. I know historically I've always put together almost a Bible, a 7-page document on every project that we do that has extensive history on really understanding who's going to be moving to this community and who your buyers are. I've actually taken a lawn chair out during trenching and watched what kind of cars are driving by, and shopped locally to just try and understand who these people are and what they like and what they're into, and also to make sure that the design that you're providing is really attainable, because you have to understand from a retail perspective where these buyers are going to be shopping. So, really it's important to do a lot of research on that front. Also, the understanding from a profile perspective, really the culture that's going to be moving into this community. With the Asian demographic, you want to consider feng shui. I'll never forget a community we did once, and the builder wanted beamed ceilings, and we learned about the arrows of death. So that had to be a quick shift at the frame walk, but. And just really, I think it's really important to also bring in your seasoned salespeople, whoever's going to be selling this community early on, because they really have a pulse for what the buyer wants and what they're looking for early on. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So Judson, why don't you talk a little bit about your idea of serving your customer and getting them involved in the process?
Absolutely. So obviously the last year, the market's changed a lot. Customers are migrating at record rates, and the ability to profile a customer and what that demographic is changing dramatically. So our idea is, in order to keep up to date, involve the customer often and frequently. And the best way to do so, we found, is with a style quiz. Like a personality test, you go through a series of questions that helps you identify better who you are. We do the same with style. By a series of questions, furniture, room styles, layouts, we learn what the customers want, and we can provide that data back to builders to make more educated decisions. So we'll just do a test with the group here. We're going to get all of you involved on this. There's 2 designs here. This is the exact same home, exact same room. All the fixtures and finishes are the same. The only thing different is the furniture. So we're going to do a raise of hands for those of you who prefer one design over another. So let's start with design 1. Which of you prefer design 1 over design 2? All right.
That's close.
And for design 2, which of you prefer design 2? Right? If we would have chose one design for all of you, right, we might be missing the market. So our goal is have multiple styles to connect to the whole market, because if you're forced to choose one, you're going to miss out on a majority of the market, because a majority of the market doesn't want one style. They want several different. So here's another example. This is a living room, so we'll do this one more time. Those of you who prefer design 1, please raise your hand. All right, couple. And then design 2. All right. This is what we want to do with your customers, get them involved, but at another level. Everything from fixtures, finishes, we can ask a series of questions to help you be educated. Also, how do you know if you got your design right on your last community? Survey them, send a style quiz. What was the result on what they said they wanted versus what we thought that they wanted? That's how we make more educated decisions going forward.
And one thing I do love about this is you getting the customers bought into the process, so they automatically take ownership. So whether or not they actually, you end up building a model with the furnishings that they chose, they still become emotionally involved in this process, and it's fun for them to follow along to see what did you actually end up picking.
Yeah. And social media marketing, we found, needs to be fun, and this is a great way to connect with them via social media as well. Now, room design by function. As we do our designs, which are virtual and interior design, the function of spaces are changing. Some people need an office, other people need a nursery, some people want a gym. Well, we can do so with our virtual designs. Exact same room here, 3 different functions now. So we have a guest bedroom, a nursery, or a kid's bedroom. So same exact room, different functions. Another scenario here. We have a nursery, an office, and a guest bedroom. Same exact room, different functions. A buyer might walk in and see a guest bedroom and go, I really wanted a gym. Well, we can help you connect with your buyers and help them to visualize the way that they want to see that home.
Jennifer, if you can talk to us a little bit about where do buyers really get their inspiration, so we can best serve that.
Yeah, so it's really interesting that in my career in home building, to see where we've really come and how we are in a time for disruption. And I love to think about the psychology of where the consumer is today and what influences buyer behavior even before they step foot inside a model home. I think it's really important that you know the background and where all the influences are. And so keeping in mind that today's consumer is the consumer of all things, that we're buying cars, we're buying fashion, we're buying all different types of things, and we're starting to change our expects of the process of buying. With that, our expectations are changing, and the market's getting more competitive, more noisy to get our attention, the metaverse, right? We live in an on-demand society, and our customers are wanting to do more things on their own. It's a new self-service. Self-service is taking on a new meaning. So all really important things to think about as we're thinking about model homes and virtual model homes and buying furniture, all the things we're talking about today. There's this backstory that's really happening. And now more than ever, there's really a chance for us to catch up with the pandemic. Really in the last 18 months, as we know, the pandemic kind of gave us our own booster shot in the industry to start relooking at what disruption means to our industry. So when we talk about the consumer of all things data, it is time for us to innovate. And I think some of these statistics are super interesting just to keep in mind. Right now, 60% of millennials view social media as an important source for new product information. Not too shocking there, as everybody is on some kind of a social media platform. 71% of consumers are more likely to make purchases based on referrals. So word of mouth, we used to count for it in other ways. Now it is so driven by the internet. Again, not a big surprise, with 72% of consumers are more eager to buy from digitally innovative retailers. So if there's some home builders out there that aren't jumping on the bandwagon with some of these newer things, not saying you have to do all of it, eventually the consumer is going to say, I can't get what I want from you, I can't get the right information from you, can't get the right experience that I'm expecting. You could start to get kicked out when the market softens. 55% of consumers have purchased something they discovered on social media. And one of the programs we're going to be talking about here, in contrast to Modsy, is how the House Inspired Homes program can really infiltrate and be part of that social media strategy. So it's just really important to consider where consumers are today in all of these different spheres of influence. So where data and design kind of meet, and thinking about the evolution of influencers. I think this is, again, really important, thinking about what's in the sphere of the consumer's mind. So fashion right now is filled with influencers, and influencers are starting to dictate what consumers are going to ask for. And they really starting to put a lot of trust in people that they don't know. Whereas brands, historically have tried to go through their own customer experience to build that trust. There's people out there that are figuring out how to do it without even necessarily selling anything yet, but really with their brand experience and social media. So I think we're going to start to see just different ways that, again, consumers are going to say, okay, builders, you can give me information, but where's my area of trust? Is it the online person that I'm speaking with? Is it coming through with a great chatbot experience and it's transcending to the online relationship, that's transcending to as I'm walking in? Those are some really important ways to think about how we can use circles of influences. One of the top areas, fashion, has the most appeal with influencers, but home decor and furniture is a close second. So we're starting to see that influence when people are coming into design centers saying, oh, well, I was on watching this one TV show, this one DIY show, and they did this in their kitchen. Or I follow this one blogger and she's showing how she had her mantle like this. I want to do this. And so people are coming in with more ideas, more inspiration, and more, again, self-knowledge because they've researched than they ever did before. So as home builders, we have to keep this in mind if we're going to meet their expectations when they come in the door, knowing that they're doing the researching, that they're doing the planning, and really this whole spectrum of influencers is going to start to change how consumers are expecting an experience from us as home builders.
Mm-hmm. And think about how content is king. So this is such a great opportunity for you to create content around the inspiration. I mean, my head's just spinning thinking about all the different possibilities. I mean, you should be the influencer of your consumers here. So let's jump on and talk about using virtual models to pre-sell. So yesterday during keynote, we heard about selling out communities. They're multi-million-dollar communities without even having a physical model. So Sara, can you talk to more to that? Is that something you see that most consumers are open to, buying without a physical model home?
I think a lot of it is contingent on the market and geographically where you're located. I think, I know in Southern California, where I'm from, we had, Warmington did a community, and about 4 weeks before the models were supposed to install, they sold their last home and didn't need the models, and so they had all this furniture they had nothing to do with. But, and I know Malia did that one time. I think it takes a lot of really forecasting and trying to look ahead to see, do we really think we're going to sell out? Or, if it's poor planning, eventually you'll have to stage the models, each of them to sell them, or each of the homes, the standing inventory, to get them to sell. But I think the market is really hot right now, and that's definitely something they're considering. I can also tell you that there has been sort of a shift, especially during COVID, when things were selling without people walking them. You're buying your iPhones and your Teslas over the phone and on the internet without even seeing them or test driving them. And a lot of the homes were doing the same thing. Virtual models have been really on the rise for a long time, but really have taken the forefront during COVID. So I know TriPoint, for example, did one community that we just recently did. They decided to do 2 virtual models for 1 model in person in one community and across the street, did 2 real models and 1 virtual, and it's working. So unfortunately for the interior designers, it's, it's a grim, perspective, but for the virtual people, they're doing great. So anyway, I still think, though, it's your home. I mean, the new American dream is not being a homeowner. It's the lifestyle. And people still want to touch and feel and smell and experience walking into a home and seeing it. So.
Well, and I think to your point, it's not grim quite yet.
It's not, but
again, in the virtual,
right.
Modsy is using designers to actually create the same experience as in the real world. So
right.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the idea of shoppable model home?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that we know, builders are a source of inspiration. Before Pinterest, builders were what people did, right? You went out. That's how I fell in love with the home I bought, is we went out for design ideas, and my wife fell in love with the floor plan. And so I think there's that element, but you need to leverage it in a fun way, pre-sale and post-sale. The reason I got into this business is constantly hearing buyers ask, where'd you buy the furniture? And the answer was always, I don't know, right? Show of hands, who has heard that question? Where'd you buy the furniture,
yep.
right? So we want to be a solution and answer to it where they can feel like they can connect to it and purchase it and have the exact home that they saw online or in person. And so we do so with the shoppable models. As you see with this image here, they can switch between styles, they can customize, they even have access to their own studio that they can make it their own. But the idea is this is a fun way to do what builders do best, which is inspire customers of what a new home could be versus a used home, right? You're already doing that. Why not do it on the web, right? Rather than just having a physical home as a source of inspiration, leverage the digital content and promote your homes online.
Mm-hmm. And I think for me, as a former salesperson, I mean, I know that designers work so hard to get the model home right, and then if they don't get it right, and you have somebody come in and they're just like, I love the layout, but I just don't see myself here. So this is a perfect solution where even think about the different use of spaces, as you talked about, staging the same room differently. So for example, for me, if you show me a living room, it doesn't do anything for me. But if you turn that living room into an office, now we're talking. Now I can see myself living in this space. And I think that's the key, is to appeal to your buyers, not only through how you use that space, but also the different style of furniture. Because again, it's not one style fits all. So why not appeal to so many different buyer types that we have? In the virtual world, it's really affordable to do that, where you can't exactly create the same model showing different furniture in that. So yeah, I love that idea of being able to see what that space looks like.
Absolutely.
And so Justin, can you talk about continuing that relationship? So obviously, as home builders, we get the trust of our buyers, right? I mean, they're spending a ton of money with us. It's the most important, most expensive purchase of their lifetime. And so we already won that trust. They said, I trust you to build this home for me. So why not capitalize on that and take that relationship further and now offer additional services like selling furniture to them, even post closing?
Yeah, great question. So as I mentioned, being that source of inspiration, so pre-sale, shoppable models, people are coming for ideas. Post-sale, you want your buyers still talking about you positively. You don't want them talking about warranties and complaints. So how can you do so? With our Modsy studios, they will get digital access to their own interactive studio that they can customize their designs, share it with friends and family. We want their friends and family saying, wow, where did you get that? It came with my home. A digital twin that's interactive over time. You walk into Wayfair, you see something on Wayfair, you want to see it in your home, we can do it. Crate and Barrel, CB2, hundreds of brands, plus some of our own private labeled, allowing a customer to connect to their space as a digital shopping cart where you don't have to worry about whether or not it will fit. You can know because you can see it in your home, in your space, with the ability to swap and customize. And that's the connection and power of a brand new home, is being able to do this. If a customer wanted to work with us on a retrofit, they would have to scan their room, which takes time. Having exactly how it was built by the builder is the best customer experience.
Mm-hmm. So Jennifer, can you tell us a little bit more about your program? Because obviously it's a similar idea, but a little bit different.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're all here today to talk about disrupting the customer experience, bringing in more personalization, and becoming more virtual, right? So with Builders Design, we launched this last year, House Inspired Homes, and we were approached in building a partnership with House because they are one of the first e-retailers that really created an online design community. So it's a resource of interior designers, experts, home builders sharing their own plans and designs, and then obviously there's the furniture aspect of it as well. And being a 40-year-old design firm, we felt like they were a great partner to offer to an extension of our brand paired with their brand in their online community, which is extensive, national, well, it's global. And so what we saw, the opportunity was an opportunity to invigorate your brand and match the house interior, or the house, I'm stumbling, the House Inspired Homes program, match the House brand with a builder brand and take two brands and become the power of one strong experience. And so with our program, you can also do what we say, shop the look, and go through a model home that's been curated by our experience design team, and then use our app to go in and say, hey, I would love to purchase this chair, because we do know we get those questions. I would love to purchase this lamp. I want this whole room. And then also being able to go back home and say, I want to still fall in love with this home. I'm still continuing my journey. What I love about the shoppable experience is, in the beginning of my career, as marketers, we would all say, well, we know everybody goes home with, 20 brochures after they've toured homes all day, and they dump them on the counter. And then they sit there and they say, honey, but I really liked that one house with the one great room. Or wait, was the fireplace, was it sit in the corner? And you're trying to remember where they were. Today, with more virtualization, virtual model homes, virtual touring, they can go back online and really talk about through their phones what those experiences were. And when you connect with our House app, you can also go in and see other curated collections pulled together by designers. So if I wasn't into the rustic farmhouse look that was in the model home I toured, but I love the bones of the house, but I want something a little bit more modern, some of those options are there for me as well. So giving the customer choice is really important. Yes. Thinking about being able to keep our customers daydreaming, right? That's part of the customer journey and the customer experience that we know we can help nurture our processes. In the last year, with supply chain issues and timelines that were a little unknown, still are, how do we keep a customer engaged? I think that's the beauty of the shoppable model process, regardless of what program fits you, is knowing that you can keep a buyer excited, knowing that they now have time to curate their home, that they have time to think through the design, and they can be ordering things behind the scenes so that when they show up to that empty 4 walls, they've already got a plan. Maybe their furniture is already being delivered, and making sure that they're working with a retailer that can work with inventory that is just and on time with their delivery of their home is really important. You're really offering them an extension of personalization and an easy button to get their home to the next level. And I would think about what those brand connections are, right? As you're working with different affiliated options for shoppable models, what are those experiences from A to Z? Because those will be a direct reflection on your customer experience, because they will be out of your control. So it's something really important, something I would advise as a consultant to say, whenever you're bringing in another third party, they're an extension of your brand. So what is their brand promise to fulfill yours? And then last but not least, think about how you're joining an online strategy of word of mouth, of sharing, of commenting, of influencing. As you're doing these things that are online, you're joining a larger online community of designers, word of mouth, of feedback, of experience, of sharing your floor plans with these shoppable experiences. That is where our industry is going.
Mm-hmm. And I think that idea of really shoppable experience, social experience, like we see it more and more, right, on Instagram, where it started off as picture sharing. Now you can buy all the stuff that you see on Instagram. So Pinterest is a perfect example of that. And I think in China, I mean, I forgot what the exact number is, but it's amazing what the percentage of sales comes from that online shoppable experience. And I think in US, we're certainly moving in that direction. So if you're wondering if, this is great, but is it actually worth our time to do this? I think the answer is yes. And I know, Judson, you do have some initial numbers that you can share with us. How does it improve traffic to the site and open rates?
Yeah, absolutely. So we just did an early test of sharing these shoppable models with home buyers direct, and just were blown away by the numbers and receptiveness. Those who do marketing know about open rates and click rates. So what we learned is we send an email to a customer where they land in the home that they purchased, and they see it beautifully designed and it's shoppable. With the emails we sent out, the open rate was 54% and the click rate was 18%. For those of you who don't know, industry standard on click rates are around 3 to 4%. So absolutely blew it away. This particular builder says the highest click rate they have ever seen. So what have we learned, right? But customers want to connect with their space. So it's been a huge success. We have a lot of exciting things coming that I wish I could share coming in January. But at the end of the day, Jennifer's absolutely right that it's elevating your brand to that next level, right? It's encouraging customers that we are there with them through their customer journey, and it's not a transaction, but an experience. And that's what we want to come together, leveraging interior designers to give us the opinions of how to lay these spaces out, right, based on the expert advice so that customers can connect with those spaces. So really excited for where this industry is heading and where we're going.
And I think, again, at the end of the day, I've heard so many times from my customers walking in the model home and saying, I want it just like this.
Yep.
How can I get this? And you're like, sorry, you know what? And I actually hate to tell you, the stuff that we're showing in this model, you can't even buy it. We don't even offer it as an option. So
what we're learning in our early learnings, shoppable models drive more traffic than your actual model on your website. Why? Because people want to be inspired. It's like the individuals who walk through your home. If you survey the amount of people that are there just for design ideas, just looking, you're giving them an avenue to do so. But in that journey, by the way, you can buy it. It's a passive way to get more people looking at your home, because they're not thinking about buying a home, just like I was not thinking about buying a home that day. I was looking for design ideas. So lean into it, leverage it as a social media marketing to drive more site traffic to your models.
yeah, and most importantly, again, it's attainable, right? If I want it, I can actually get that.
Yes.
So Sarah, let's talk a little bit more about it being attainable, because obviously with the model homes, we want it to be a source of inspiration. We don't want to show a basic model that's not inspiring, but how do we, how do we balance that? We're inspiring them, yet making sure that that is something that they can buy.
Yeah, sure. I remember back years ago when builders were doing sort of a standard model, and then they would show a few upgrades, and then their third model or fourth model would show, all upgrades. The majority have gone away from that and sprinkle in sort of the standards so that you can still see what you're getting with the base home. But on average, 10% of the price of the home are usually spent with buyers on upgrades. And it's really important to show what you're going to offer. Anya was saying that you want to inspire them, and if you don't show it, if you don't, show an office option, right, and you just want for bed count, you just show the bedroom, it's harder for these buyers to envision what an office would look like in there. So, and then doing a virtual model is a great way to show that same space in a different layout. I think you have to, as builders, you have to ask yourself, are we showcasing a home that is going to inspire these buyers to sell what they already have and buy new rather than just fixing up their own home? And the more opportunities what we're talking about is personalization here. The more opportunities for them to really get engaged on this process and see many options and play with it, the more vested they are, really. I also have heard and seen and experienced that we're going away from the decorator item, which by the way, the interior designers hate that word for what it's worth. We're not decorators. The decorator features or a wall feature or some fabulous specialty lighting fixture or something where they put this label of decorator item that's basically saying you may love it, but you can't have it. Why? Why is that? So it's really important to show and offer as options or upgrades. People are also spending more money these days on design and upgrades. So really try to offer what you're showing and staying away from too many features that are unavailable. So.
And yeah, speaking of showing a lot of options in the physical versus virtual model, again, bringing it back to what Mike Moore always says, is creating that digital double of your model home. So the idea is that you have your physical model, you can stage your virtual model to look exactly the same as the physical model. And what the benefit would be is that when your customers go online and they walk through the virtual model, and then they actually come into your physical model, it's an aha moment for them because they say, oh my gosh, this looks exactly like what I saw online. So I trust you now to sell me through your other virtual models because I know your virtual model actually matches your physical model. It looks exactly like what I would expect. So this is a great example of doing one virtual, one physical, so then you don't have to build more model homes. You can just offer additional virtual model homes as proof of concept then.
Or right? One virtual and 2 model homes, whichever.
So let's talk a little bit about how do home builders stand out. So obviously we want to inspire our customers. So Sarah, you talked about the idea of offering like a cheat sheet, inspiration sheet. So talk a little bit more about that.
Well, you know, we've been talking about brand, and it's really important to, also Judson said something about after the purchase, you want them to keep talking about you, right, as your builder and your brand. I think it's really important to find kind of your niche or some way for you to uniquely stand out, and that's in providing something other than maybe incentives to this buyer. Maybe after they've purchased, I know one builder's thinking about doing this, but there's a lot of conversation around it, but after they have made their purchase, made all their selections and upgrades and closed, then offering them some sort of document like a DIY inspo sheet put together by the interior design firm on, you know, you spent this much money on your upgrades and you really wanted to do that bed wall in your master. Here's a great way to achieve the look of that millwork on a dime or for less. I mean, you're helping them out, and that's something that they'll remember. I mean, it's amazing what you can do with trim and accent paint, right? Or just giving them some ideas that will help inspire them and keep them, you know, on your good side, right?
Yeah, obviously we want them spending as much money as possible with us.
Yeah, of course. So you don't bring this up until after they've closed, but just something like that continues the relationship even after they've closed.
Great. So looking ahead, Jennifer, can you talk to us about some of the trends that you anticipate, some of the buyer behaviors? What can we look forward to?
Yeah, so again, this is me putting my home builder hat on and thinking about what's important to the buyer. You know, historically, the buyer likes choice, and they come with a list, whether we like it or not. And it's very much so in this order, where they're looking at location first, the value of what you're giving them, the quality, the price point, what they can afford, and then they're looking at the floor plan, right? So those things are on the buyer's list when they're making a decision, regardless of who you are and where you are. Those are tried and true. So next up is really the personalized home design. It's the one piece that we deliver the box, we deliver the walls, maybe spend a nice 6 figures of something to get this home, and then we're like, on to the next one. Hope you had a great experience. Would you like to fill out our survey, right? Now we've given them the opportunity to not just deliver that box, but to deliver that personalized design. And through some of these different programs, they have an opportunity to go back and to build more of a relationship with your home, with your experience on how they're personalizing, which we never did before. So I think it's really important as you're thinking through where you want to spend your money, where you want to spend your efforts with your teams as you build out your experience, that do you want to add on to the customer's list here? Because it's going to be there. It's going to be, because if you don't offer it now, more and more of the builders are going to start to realize that that's where the customer is going. I think it also supports full-scale buying online. So this has been a big discussion. I spoke at Builder 100 a couple weeks ago, actually a couple months ago now, and that was a big discussion: is how do we take buying online? And this is a natural progression of that. When you think about going from virtual, going from e-search to e-find, to e-contract, to e-design, e-expectations. I think the word me, the E in me, is becoming really strong because we're going very electronic, very self-serve. So consider that in your buying cycle and your buying process. I really think it's changing. And thinking about the value of just your continuity across all assets, thinking about how your brand goes from that virtual model home, how it's critiqued, how it really looks like you vision the home to live, based off of the demographic you're serving, based off the experience that you really thoughtfully thought through when you designed your floor plan, to your interior design, to your integrated technology. That marketing continuity is grown bigger than where it was before. And customers' experiences are changing, and what we can offer as home builders is definitely changing. So I really challenge everybody in the room that's working with a builder to think about how my process is adding on this E part of our journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, it is all about thrilling our customers, right? They see this beautiful model, whether it's virtual or physical, and then oftentimes they move into this just empty box and it's blah. and most consumers are intimidated by the idea of interior design, right? How do I make it look like that model home? So now you have an opportunity to make that basically with the click of a button. You click it and hey, just bring your toothbrushes. It's really, really cool. Cool concept. So we do have some time for questions. As we were preparing this presentation, I know even Sarah had a gazillion questions because it's such a interesting concept. So we'd love to take some questions from the room. Any comments?
My question is, there's probably incentives to connect the retailers to the home buyers, to our home buyers. What kind of incentives are there?
Great question. So it depends on each builder in the situation. Absolutely, working with the manufacturers, depending on your relationships, they want their furniture to be showcased. So physically or digitally, we can work with those manufacturers and work on agreements. The furniture market varies so much based on items. We want to make sure that we're not price gouging and that we're staying competitive. So those are discussed at a builder relationship level and also based on your relationships with the manufacturers. As I said, Crate and Barrel, CB2, what do you want to showcase in your models, what styles? But absolutely, there is an incentive path for you to be able to recoup some cost here and even turn it into a revenue stream.
And I think above all, I guess not the actual money revenue stream, but the customer happiness and the ease of doing business with you. Think about that experience that they can tell all their friends, share online on social, hey, check out my home. It looks like a model home.
Yeah. To be honest, that's been the largest value is marketing. How much do you spend on marketing, right? At the end of the day, this is you're recouping by that experience in the customer journey. There's a financial element, but I'd say if that's the driver, honestly, it might not be the right relationship. We're looking at that experience for that customer and measuring that. At the end of the day, that's where this is going to be successful and what it's tied to. So it's really elevating that up so the customer feels inspired when they first sign that contract and fulfilled after they move in. And that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, the user-generated content from this would be priceless.
Yeah.
So again, thank you so much for attending this session. Thank you to our sponsor, Nortec Control, for sponsoring this. And again, if you have, I'm sure as you go through your day, you may have more of those aha moments thinking about this process. So I'm sure Jennifer, Sarah, and Judson would be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Again, thank you for being with us today.